So we're looking at equations with rational exponents. So before we kind of dive into it, let's just make sure that we remember what they all mean. So if I had something like 8 to the 2/3 power, what does that mean you're doing? This has an answer, a nice answer actually. This thing would mean whatever your denominator is, that's what root you want to take. So in this case, this would be the cube root of 8, and then you would square that answer. You can also do the cube root of 8 squared, but that's usually going to lead you to a bigger number than you want. So I would take that denominator, cube root of 8 squared. So what is the cube root of 8? 2, yep, because 2 times 2 times 2 gets me 8, and then 2 squared gets me 4. So when you have a rational exponent, that's what they mean. So the denominator is whatever root you're going to take. I like to think of it as it's this little number that's going to swing around and become a little bird on a perch. So if that's my root, and here's my little perch, there's my little bird. So that denominator swings around. And then you can either square the 8 first, or you can square the whole answer. They work either way. But I would advise you to do it this way, because then your numbers are a lot smaller. Otherwise, now you have to deal with 64, and want to get bigger than you have to. So you can rewrite this as the square root of 4m cubed if you wanted, but there is an easier way that I actually don't have to write it as a radical at all. Does everybody remember? That's okay, I'll tell you. Basically, your steps are whatever is being raised to the exponent, you want to get that by itself on that side of the equal sign. So in number 7, that's already the case. Okay, the thing being raised to the exponent is 4m, and there's nothing else on that side of the equation. Whereas if I look at number 9, see how I have this extra 5 there? I would want to divide both sides by 5 before I started. Whatever is being raised to the exponent, get it by itself. And then, to undo raising something to the 3/2 power, I just need to raise both sides to the... Yes, to the 2/3 power. You raise it to the reciprocal power on both sides. So, watch this. I'm going to raise this side to the 2/3 power. But I also have to raise this side to the 2/3 power, right? Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. But watch what happens over here. What do you do when you raise a power to a power? What are you supposed to do with these numbers? Like if you have x squared and then you cubed it, isn't that x to the 6th, right? Because you did 2 times 3. You multiply those exponents. So if I multiply 3/2 and 2/3, what do you get? Just 1. That's the magic, right? That's why you raise it to the reciprocal power. So now, on the right-hand side, all that's left is 4m. And then on the left-hand side, I just have to figure out what that is. So remember what we just talked about with the 8. That denominator tells me what root to take, and then I need to raise it to the 2nd power. So the same thing's happening here. I need the cube root of 216, and then whatever that answer is, I'm going to square it. What's the cube root of 216? 6. And then I just do 6 squared, so I get 36 there. Does that make sense? Is that ringing a bell now that you see it? I know it's probably been a while. And now, of course, my answer is just 9. Is that all right? Okay, now if I look at 8, what are you going to do first? Yeah, well, yeah, you want to divide by 4 first, because the only thing being raised to the 2/3 power is the n, right? Not the 4 in this case. So I would divide both sides by 4 as your very first step, and then raise to that reciprocal power. Hi. Let me give you this sheet here. we were just finishing up talking about, we did the rational equations, and now we are looking at equations with rational exponents. Okay, we got answers? All right, divide by 4 first. You're here. Now we're going to raise to the reciprocal power, right? So you now become raised to the 3 halves. Oops. 3 halves. Raise this one to the 3 halves. What is 25 to the 3 halves power? 125. Did everybody get that? Do you see how? Because that, so the 2 now is my, that's what root I want to take. I want to take the square root because it's a 2. So the square root of 25 is 5, and now I cube it. 125. Yep. So, good question. You're taking a square root there. That's a good question. I don't think so, because I think that well, it could be, yeah, why not? Right? Because if you're taking you took that square root. So if that was a -5 and you cubed it, yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, why not? Right? Do you guys get that? So if I take the square root of 25, it does have 2 roots, positive, -5. And if I cube positive or -5, I'm going to get 2 different answers. So, and if I plug them back in, they both work out just fine. Yeah, because I'm going to take the cube root of 125. Say it was negative. That'd be -5, but then I'm squaring it anyway. Yeah, you're right. Good catch. All right, let's jump to one like 12. What do you think you do first? Yeah, let's divide by that -5 right away. And then go ahead and finish that problem, and we'll see if we all end up in the same spot. Do we agree? Did everybody get 50? I'm not used to classes where everybody gets it. So you guys are throwing me for a loop here. Or are half of you just sitting there with no clue what's going on and you're just lying to me? I'm going to find out on Friday on that first quiz. I hope everybody gets 100. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah. What'd you get? All right, so let's go back. Did you divide both sides by -5? And you got 125? And then you raise both sides to the 2/3 power, right? Yeah. Once, because now keep that in mind. P minus 25 is being raised to the exponent. So that's going to stay there. I'm just going to get rid of that -5, and now I do that reciprocal power. Okay? And now remember what that means. That means cube root of 125 squared. Here, I don't have to worry about positive negative roots, because the cube root of positive 125 can only be positive 5. It can't be -5, because -5 cubed would have been negative 125. Right? So the only thing I could have gotten there was a 5, and then I square it to get that 25. Okay, let me ask you this question. Raise your hand if you feel like you need more practice with equations with exponents. Okay. So, I will give you some more practice in a little bit, but let's take a look at complex fractions so we can get those done, and then we can kind of practice everything. How's that? All right. So, I have a little, oh, let me stop this here.